So what I've got here is a used 5-gallon can. I save 5-gallon cans, I use them for everything. And then a used paint can, and then another used paint can. And I don't normally save these, but I saved these and cleaned them up. As you can see, they're used. But I cleaned them up to where I can cut these in half and cut this in half. This is gonna be the bass drum, and these are gonna be the snares and tom-toms. All right, now that I've got these all cut out, I'm gonna go ahead and start figuring out how I'm gonna piece them together to look like a real drum kit. Now what I've done here is I've taken fiberglass matting and I've made it 2 layers thick. And we've got enough for those 4 drums, and then of course the bass drum, and they're all 2 layers thick. They're all laid out on tinfoil. And then I've just cut some of the spare pieces that came from around those. When you cut those out of something else, there's all those little corner pieces, and I saved them. And I cut them into strips. And those strips, you can see where I've prepped this in all of these drums, all 4 of these and the bass drum here. And I've prepped this bottom line. And I'm going to, once these are in resin, I'm going to place them in here, just the scraps in here, with the base hanging out about 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to take these and set them gently on here so everything meshes up and it's fully connected. And then when it's all cured, I can pick it up and it'll have a nice flat bottom, and it's guaranteed to be attached. And so I've done just that. I put the little tabs on the inside of there like I said I would. Then I put the 2 layers, soaked it all in resin, put them on there, and then put a little weight on the top of each one. So when this cures out, I should be able to lift them up and they should have completely flat and well-attached bottoms. And now I'm going to take this Sawzall and I'm going to cut them all out. As you can see, cut around the edge and we'll see how they look. All right, so I've got this one cut off and we've got this one partially stripped off. You can see how easily this tinfoil strips away from that. That's why I used it. Then we'll go ahead and get it the rest of the way off, and then I'll cut these guys out. There's 2 of them. There's 2 here. Yeah, and that's basically how they look before and after. I mean, I do have to cut them in 2. I have to cut between them, start. I mean, you see right here where I did. But here's what they look like before and after. So this is a mirror off of a semi. This is one of those little mirrors that that goes on the side of the hood so the driver can better see anything around him. And I've got quite a few of these. And what I've done is I've just stripped this off of a couple of the other ones. What I've decided here is that I'm going to leave this drum out of it, at least for now. I didn't notice until after I glassed it up that it's got some pretty decent damage on the side. I can always bundle that up. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I wasn't sure if I wanted 3 or 4 smaller drums anyway. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 and I'm going to mount them up here. I'm going to remove this. When I get it all built, I'm going to remove this, and this will have all this stuff attached to it by then, including another piece here that comes right up the center and has one of these mounted to the top of it. I know that sounds confusing, but I'll show you here in a minute what I mean. And then all of it is removable, so I can paint all my drums, get it all done, and then just mount it all with a rivet. Just like this. We've got these 2 welded. Now I'm going to cut this piece, weld it here, just like this. Now I've got all the holes drilled, everything's ready. Now I'll mount these 3 drums to it. We'll be ready to go. I've got them all primed in beige. And here in a few minutes, they're going to be flame metallic red. Now I'm just working off the back of this truck we happen to have in the shop right now. And I've got these pieces of stainless that I cut out earlier and drilled the holes in. Now I'm going to line these drums up one at a time. And I'm going to wrap these around them and rivet them in place. Just like that. And all 3 of these. They got their stainless on them now. Now I'm going to mask from there to there and go ahead and paint these white and paint the other side white. All right, I got the white on the drums, and then I set them up here for just a few minutes to get the paint to set up, and then I've just set them over here now that it is set up so they can finish drying. The idea here is I'm going to take this 1-gallon paint can lid. I'm going to take one of these, drill a hole through the middle of it, drill a hole through the middle of this, put in this 1/4 inch rivet right in the middle of the hole, right in the middle of the hole. Then once that's installed, I'm going to take this, put it on around that rivet, since the rivet's aluminum and everything else here is steel, and then I'm going to weld it. So this will be welded to this, and this will be riveted to this, and that's going to be the base of this stool. Then I'm going to weld this one to the top of it. Once that's done, I'm going to drill a hole there and run 2 little short screws to the underside, up under into here. And this, by that time, will be painted black. Satin Canyon black. And that will be the stool for the drummer. So I've got my holes drilled. and I've got this marked so I know right where to set this. I'm going to set this right on that hole, then I'm going to tack weld around it. And so now I've got this rivet right up to the bottom of here. I'm going to put that rivet in that hole. You see I've got these all welded together like I said I would. Now I'm going to put that in that hole, pull the trigger on the rivet gun. This will all be one now, and this will be attached to the floor. And then I'm going to run the 2 screws through those 2 little holes up into the bottom of this. Now here we have a stool. Paint can lid. I went ahead and put just a big oversized washer that I made out of some diamond plate that I had around in aluminum. I had a bunch of that scrap sitting around, so I used one of my scraps to make a bigger washer to really kind of hold it steady, because paint can lids are pretty thin by themselves. And that's what this is doing on this side too. And then we got the pad all, well, it's not a pad, it's a piece of plywood, but it's all painted on the top side, screwed in on the underside. And now we got a stool for the drummer. Now I've got these welded on here. I just set that piece of aluminum on there so I wouldn't burn up the top of my new stool. I needed to get that height right. So we had the legs right and the trajectories right. And once again, I've taken my heavier construction paper. It's not construction paper, it's a file folder, but it's heavy paper. And I traced onto it the basic shapes I was going to need to cover the back side of the butt and this crotch area. And what I come up with was this shape and this shape. Then I traced them onto this right next to each other. So this cut is going to be the outside of this and the inside of this. And now I'm going to cut them out, bend them and mold them into place, and tack weld them into place. So we got this plate tack welded on the back. This just slips right off. I just had to do a little bit of grinding on the underside to make sure that these angles were fairly similar. And then I got this one welded, tack welded in front. On this one I'm going to paint the pants before I install the top here. That'll make it easier to mask everything and paint everything. I'm going to go ahead and sand and paint the lower area here first, and then I'm going to go ahead and install the top. This guy is getting close. Now I'm going to cut out these, install the forearms, and then figure out what we're going to do with the hands, drumsticks, head, hair, all that stuff. Here's the hands I made on the very first character. I went ahead and made the hands for all 4 of the bandmates. These are a couple pieces of pig panel. And this is a 3rd piece of pig panel that I'm going to use as the stem for the bass drum striker. And these 2 will be used as drumsticks. Now here I've curled these fingers and then went ahead and welded this little drumstick to the inside of each hand. And then I welded this washer to the end of this piece of pig panel and welded the washer also to this old socket for the bass drum striker. Now I'm going to install the hands inside the wrists. Just like that. What I've done here is I've just taken another piece of stainless, just scrap. This was all the bigger this piece even was. And I just tapered off the end, straightened out this end. It was bent at a 90. And by straightening it out, I left a little ridge in it, which is totally fine. Now I'm going to weld this striker to the end of it. And as you can see, the shoe works great on it. It's about the right size. And now I have a bass drum lever. So I've taken this little lightweight piece of metal. I welded those 3 pieces of stainless to that washer. Then I just simply put a 1/4 inch rivet up in the center of it, and it holds it all together. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the top. I've got this hubcap off this semi that I cut the outer 1/2 inch off of to get it down to a better size. Drilled that 1/4 inch hole in the middle. Now I'm going to put a rivet through that into this, and it'll attach it to the top. With any luck, I'll be able to adjust the feet at that point, and I'll have a cymbal standing there. Okay, cymbal's finished. This is just the hardware for the drum that'll go on last. Cymbal's all done. Got all my hair built now, and you can see it's a different configuration than the other hair. It's laying sideways instead of perpendicular to each band. Now I'm going to start installing these one at a time on the skull. The guy's masked off and painted. He's going to be curing out here in front of the fire. Okay, now here I've cut a couple of pieces of stainless into the shape of eyeballs, put some double stick tape on the back and painted the outsides red. And then I cut the bows off of the glasses. Well, looks like I pretty much got it done. Let's go ahead and have a look. So here he is, my old buddy Ronnie. in his element, drumming his backside off on his nice flame red metallic drum set. Hitting the bass pedal, banging on those snares. Now this isn't an accurate drum set, there's not even a tom-tom, but that's not really the point. Most drum sets don't have a hubcap as a cymbal either, so most people don't have stainless steel as hair, so I guess we can just kind of drop the idea of realism and go with the flow of art. And here's the old band all back together again. We've got my old buddy Carlos, me, my old buddy Ronnie, and cousin, he's like a second cousin, and Travis. We're all together, all playing once more. All very similar dimensions, so they're all proportional to one another. And the old garage band is back together, jamming out hard and making mediocre music once again. Pretty hard to beat. Pretty original too. So there you have it. That's how you make a metal band out of metal. You know, if you like what you see here, go ahead and like it because that helps. And you should probably subscribe if you haven't already. I mean, if you've come this far and you're looking at this kind of stuff, then there's no reason that you shouldn't be looking at a lot of our other stuff. We do trucks, we do cars, we do carpentry, we do gardening, we do all sorts of art, we do everything in between. So might as well subscribe, come see us. We always got something going on. See you around.